This is Raising Babies 101, the Toddlers edition. Libitso la ka ke Khomotso Christopher, and I'm delighted to welcome you to join me on this journey as we, as parents, learn some new tips and tricks on how to successfully raise our babies. Re tlo ithuta re le mmogo re le batswadi ho godisa bana ba rona. Over the next 52 weeks, we will explore and compare the concepts of nature and nurture as we pit them against each other in relation to weekly topics and, of course, to learn what comes naturally in our children and what we nurture in them as batswadi. We also learn some easy-peasy nutritional recipes and tips on how to keep our babies safe in all environments. And of course, we're going to have some fun as each week we see moms and dads battle it out against each other as we learn how to combine learning and quality time with our babies. Thank you for joining me. Ke thabile haholo jwang ebile ke motlotlo hore nna ke tlo ba host ya lona, and together re tlo tsamaya mo leetong lena, and we will learn with each other as we guide each other along the road of early parenting and as we learn how to build a solid foundation for bana ba rona. And ha ntse re etsa jwalo ha ke re re tlo make sure hore bana ba rona they have a healthy start to their development. Over the next half hour, we'll be setting the stage for what you can expect mona mo season ya Raising Babies 101, the Toddlers edition. Impa he, before re tsamaya, before re qala, re tlo launch a show ena ka ntho e monate. We are launching this series by giving away a whopping 1,000 rand to the viewer that can answer this easy question. Potso ena ka nnete ha e bothata. Do identical twins have a shared genetic code? Look out for the correct answer during the show. How fetsa o ska lebala go posta karabo ya gago on our Facebook page, and of course, if you do that, you could be a winner. To set up the concept of nature versus nurture on its own at the start of this journey, please join me in welcoming pediatrician Dr. Lethabo Machaba. Welcome, Dr. Machaba.
Thank you, Khomotso. I'm so honored to be on your show today.
Because identical twins share the same genetic code, comparing similarities and differences of twins can help determine whether genetic or environmental factors play more of a role. So, what are the common similarities behaviorally mo mafatleng? Hobane ha re tseba hore mafatla a tshwana, empa ge mafatla in some ways ha tshwane.
Yes, to explain the similarities, in medicine, Khomotso, we always learn about biological, psychological, and social.
Yes.
We like to break it. We call it the biopsychosocial model. It's easy to see even in the communities out there. Mafatla, the looks, that's the biology. In terms of skin tone, maybe hair, eye color, hands, they can look the same depending on how they were conceived. And then this is where the nature plays a bigger role, because this is where genetics play a role. Genetics are the foundation, and the house that comes up, meaning the child that gets grown, is determined, predisposed from those genetics. Most of the similarities and differences, if you actually look, the parents, we influence not just the parents, the environment, the society, the community at large, and different ethnic groups and the countries. It goes bigger. Nationality, politics, exactly.
And obviously, habaqala mafatla, they spend a lot of time, together.
Yes.
Mara hantse ba gola, ba tsamaya di-creche, ba ba le dichomi tse different. So does that influence them? Ba change depending on dichomi tsa bona?
Yes. So every child is very different and very unique, which is something that as parents, especially even us as pediatricians, when children come into our rooms due to different medical reasons, you always have to remember in the back of your mind that every genetic code, despite the fact that they are twins, is very different. So even as they grow up, as you rightly said, they interact differently with different people. Some, especially if you do a study where, for example, twins were born in the same household, but then you separate them due to adoption, you might actually discover later on that they now grow into different personalities. Where if you were to take twins, born from the same woman and keep them within the same household with the same bringing, then you might find that then the similarities might continue to be the same.
Evident.
Exactly.
And I like that you touched on sometimes there could be differences because of medical reasons. Sometimes,
Yes.
especially as twins,
Same here.
but I can't wait to see gore mafatla a rona mona
Eh.
a tlo re etsang, a tlo re bontshang, a tlo re rutisang. Let's have a
Yes,
look.
no, that would be very interesting. Yes.
En hoe oud is julle? 4 jaar oud. En wie's eerste gebore? Ivenay is eerste gebore. En sê gou vir my, hou julle van skool? En hou jy nie van skool nie? Hoekom hou jy nie van skool nie?
Wil by die huis
By die huis bly. Hoekom wil jy by die huis bly?
bly. Skool toe gaan.
Wil jy nie skool toe gaan nie? Hou jy van skool? Isai?
Ja.
Hou jy van skool? En hoekom hou jy van skool? Hoekom? Hou jy van jou juffrou?
Such interesting insights.
Very
Really.
interesting. Yes.
And you touched on this before you watched the
Okay.
insert. So I want to, go further in the conversation of, twins who are separated for different circumstances, as you said, if they have to stay in hospital. Would you find that, of course, they go back home, but as adults, as they grow up, would they retain their similarities? Would they get back the time they lost from their twin? Or what would happen in that instance?
So the similarities that were there from birth can be changed, obviously, because of environment and circumstances. So depending on how we support the children, for example, if in that case I used a child who was in intensive care, if we want the child now to grow normally, we would have to almost like rehabilitate that child.
There's a lot to talk about
Yes,
twins. And of course,
yeah.
we're going to carry on talking after the break.
Yes,
Twins
yeah.
aren't actually as simple as we think.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Rele amoheleng hape. Before the break, we took a look at the similarities and differences of a pair of toddler twins and how it demonstrates the nature versus nurture ideology. Please join me in welcoming back pediatrician Dr. Letabo Machaba. Also joining our discussion, we have adult twins Sipho and Temba. Welcome, Mawele.
Thank you very much. Well,
Yazi
thanks
if
for having us.
beningagqokanga nje ngale. If benishaye too much, bese ningishayile ngempela niyafana.
Yes.
So do you find that you guys are similar? Like how in which ways are you similar as twins?
We are very similar, actually. Although with the same thing, our bond is very, very unique that no one can take away from it. So we have different similarities as well. I mean, there's things that I like, there's things that he doesn't like, vice versa. But we ideally the same person.
And I've heard, I don't know if it's true, I hope you guys can confirm this. Ukuthiwa amawela mafatla can feel banale ESP nyana, sixth sense nyana kore ha ukula omong ore jo. And then now I felt that pain earlier on. Is it true?
partially it's true. And
Okay.
yeah,
You
most
can
of
sense
not.
each other.
Yes. I mean, for instance, he can get into trouble. And somehow I could feel something's not okay with me.
Yes.
And I could sense, okay, no, he's in trouble or something. But most of the stories that we hear, it's false.
And although angigqokanga ngokufana namhlanje,
Yeah.
benigqoka ngokufana manje semncane.
Yes, yeah. Until today, I mean, we still have the same sense of fashion taste. Although we might buy the same thing, but it has to be different in color.
Goodness, I mean, so many similarities, Doc. Even your voices are the same.
Yeah,
So
everything.
obviously
Yeah.
you guys are identical twins. And what's the difference between identical twin and fraternal twin, especially on the medical side? How do you differentiate that?
Yeah, so Khomotso, these would be the perfect example of identical twins. Medically, it's usually one ovum or egg, if I can use a layman's term, that gets fertilized and then separates. But then they grow in one sac. We call it an amniotic sac. Whereas then you also get the fraternal twins. Now that is different. Those ones grow in separate sacs, separate amniotic sacs, and have separate things. So those ones, that is where you can actually even get twins that are boy or girl.
Yes.
You know, where else the identical, you can see.
You can see.
You can see it.
Oh,
This is the
yeah.
biology.
Linda.
This is the proof that DNA and nature exists.
I cannot find a better way to wrap up this topic of
Yes.
nature versus nurture, especially to do with twins.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for spending the time with us, for sharing the insights, for explaining the difference in the sciences of twins and genetics. And to you, Themba Nosipho, ngiyabonga kakhulu ukuthi nizosithusa la e-studio. Sibone ukuthi kade ngibona kayi-two. Sibonge kakhulu for being with us today. Nature is what we think of as pre-wiring and is influenced by genetic inheritance and other biological factors. Nurture is generally taken as the influence of external factors like life experiences and learning on an individual. The nature-nurture debate is concerned with the relative contribution that both influences make to human behavior, such as personality, cognitive traits, temperament, and psychopathology. The importance of nature and nurture to how a child develops has been debated by philosophers and psychologists for centuries. Over the next few weeks, we will be discussing nature versus nurture regarding different subjects like adaptability, creativity, and sharing, to name a few. Decoding A to Z, and today, G is for genetic code. Your genetic code is the set of rules by which information encoded in DNA and RNA sequences is translated. This coding is what we inherit from our parents and grandparents and is what makes us family. Ha ho latella re hlakana le bashimanyana ba le babedi ba ileng hore ha se mafatla ho show and tell.
Hi, my name is Tumelo. And this is me, Tikelo. I'm 8 years old. And I'm 4 years old. And our favorite food is noodles. And we are brothers. And he likes to play on the trampoline. And he likes to play soccer. I like to play with my Xbox and with my skateboard.
Kile amuheleng hape who Raising Babies 101, the Toddlers edition. Next up, we're going to learn how easy peasy it is to keep a toddler safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. Please join me in welcoming to studio Ms. Mpho Papale from the Department of Social Development. Dumela o Simpho.
Okay.
Hey, kajeno itse ko re tlo bua ka ntho tse thata, dintho tsa di-pandemic. And it's so great to have you in studio, especially coming from Social Development.
It's good to
And
be here.
it's so, bona re tlatsetse dintho ka di-masking, di-sprayera, di-glove, kore ke bophelo ba rona bona bo botjha. As Social Development, these are things that are very important in our lives now.
Yes, it is. And it's a big change, especially for our kids. So they are aware of the changes that are happening. So as parents, we need to take them in and to explain to them what's happening in the world, in our country, in our homes. Why are they not at school? What are the reasons? Why should we do certain things? So it's really an important time, even more to communicate with our children.
What tips do you have that we can give to parents to share with their toddlers to keep themselves safe and clean and germ-free?
Children, they want us to explain to them in a fun way. We shouldn't scare them. So we need to explain to them all the situation in a concrete manner. So we need to be practical and to be physical. And also as parents, we need to model that changes that we need to see. So it's very important that we involve them and we be supportive.
And kids love water, at least, especially the age group we're talking about. Barata metsi. And so it's nice to incorporate that as well, because the messaging has been quite strict in terms of washing hands, right? So metsi haholo. So what is the importance of washing hands?
Our hands, we use them every time. You touch surfaces, you touch a lot of objects, and in those objects is where the germs are, where the virus is. So it's important that we wash our hands. And you know, it's so difficult sometimes for the kids to remember. So we have to be patient. And to be patient that they need to get used to this washing hands. And when they do that, have some fun activities that you do with them.
Yes.
Sing while washing their hands.
Yes.
Telling them the story and why is it important to wash their hands.
So
Those
that would
songs.
be for our hand hygiene. Of course, we've got your sanitizers, we've got water. Of course, running water is ideal.
Yes.
But, you know, not all
Clean
households
water.
have running water. But, you know, we are emphasizing
Yes.
And then, of course, we've got, hey, the mask. Hey, the mask. So how do we encourage a child? It's hard enough to wear a mask as an adult. How do you encourage a little toddler? They must keep this thing on. Literally, if they go out or 24/7 once they go back to school or nursery school.
Yes. So we need to encourage them to say, this is the new change. We need to wear our mask. And also to communicate to them the importance of wearing a mask, how this virus is being transmitted. Because when you talk, when you cough, or when you sneeze, they need to cover themselves. You need to sneeze on their elbow. And when they use a tissue, they need to use it and put it on the dustbin immediately.
And wash your
and also
hands
wash their
afterwards.
hands.
Yo,
and the putting on of mask, you know, for the kids, you need to make it also fun.
And for parents and families that, you know, aren't really in a financial position to afford multiple masks, because also I hear we have to change our masks, let alone one mask. But we know this is South Africa. There are parents and families who aren't in a position to even have masks. What else can a family like that do?
You know, there are ways in which there are steps into making, how to make a cloth mask. So you need to involve the kids. You need to have that cloth that you'll be cutting around and making sure that you make those face masks with them. Go step by step to say, how do we do it? So that they feel that connection. This is my mask.
Yes.
And they will even wear them.
And I mean, of course, you know, we've got the lockdown issues, we've got the hand hygiene issues and all of that. But also people are afraid, right? So we're finding that parents are afraid to go to pediatric visits, to go to the doctor. Would you advise that people try to stay home and not go to the doctors? Is it safe to go out to the doctors? Because, of course, toddlers have got their immunizations, and there are reports that are saying people are afraid to go for clinic visits and all of that.
We should go there when it's necessary. The immunization, remember, they have a schedule to say the child must go for immunization on these dates. And it's very important to communicate with our health practitioners to say, is it safe to bring my child for immunization? So when it's necessary, and especially when a child is sick, we need to call the doctor or the clinic, and they'll give you the necessary procedures to follow when you go to the clinic or to the health practitioner, the surgeries for the doctors.
In studio today, or all the important things that are happening behind the scenes for social development. Especially for behind the scenes. The messages are out there, we receive them, but to have someone it's really appreciated.
Yes, thank you very much. Children is our priority, and we need to take care of them, and we need to make sure to tell them that hands, they really matter.
They really matter. Well, there you have it. It's easy peasy to ensure that your toddler stays healthy during the COVID-19 pandemic. Up next, it's time to have a battle of the parents. Between these parents. In studio, please welcome Elise Jansen, who will also be battling it out against musician MXO. Hey, MXO. Hey, Elise.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
You two are parents. Parents of a boy, girl. How many kids? A boy.
Oh, yeah.
One boy.
Yeah, one boy. And, you know, but I'm a parent to my sister's kids and my brother's kids. So,
I love that.
you know,
I love
nephews.
that. Yes,
nieces.
yes. You know, in our culture,
it's a big family.
It's a big family. You
Yeah.
got the biological ones and the extended ones.
That's
And
awesome.
you, Elise?
I only have one. He's 3 years old. His name is Rain. Yeah, we're a very small family, and he's the only kid within the siblings. But we also have quite a lot of nephews and nieces and the rest of the family.
Oh, my ma is better than your pa. Here's how it works. The parents will face off in an epic quickfire battle to answer a series of trivia questions that relate to today's episode. The parent with the most points will be named the better ma of Pa, of course. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Le sharp. All right. So, before we start, I'm going to give you some house rules. As you can see, you have a hammer there, right?
I do.
And you have a bell.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to ask a question, and before you answer the question, I need to hear your hammer, I need to hear your bell, and then I will say to you, yes, you can answer, and then you go ahead, right?
Okay.
And if that doesn't happen, then I'm going to, disqualify, or points are lost. Or if you happen to speak before you ring or hammer, then the question goes to the other parent.
Cool.
All right, first question. COVID-19 is a virus, true or false? This was the first. So?
It is a virus.
It is a virus, of course. 1 point to you, 0 to MXO.
Okay.
Do non-identical twins look the same? I think, again, it's a hammer. It's coming so fast.
You said non-identical, which means they're not identical, so they don't look the same.
Thank you. Ash, we are on a roll.
MXO, gotta be quick
All
around
right,
here.
so 2-0. 3.
Okay.
Question 3. In biology, what are genes, in your own words? I think it was you. No. It was you. What are genes?
In biology,
Yes,
genes are genetics.
that is correct.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
yes.
You're back.
Yes.
You've arrived. So 2-1. We're getting there. All right. Question number 4.
Yeah.
Who is the presenter for Raising Babies 101? Yes.
Okay, you said 4. I didn't even hear it.
Everyone has to go there.
Yeah.
The answer is
Musa Christoph.
Khomotso Christopher.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we are 2-2. 2-2, guys. All right, so last question. Which channel can you find this show on?
That was me.
That was me.
That was me.
I feel like it was me.
It was you, right? And it was SABC too. So you are the best bar. That's amazing, eh? You really came through.
Nara, Butlaris Pa.
Yes.
Husa.
Sure. Thank
I'll
you.
be charged,
You
right?
want to give a shout out to Lita?
Yeah, I would
Yes,
like
the
to give a
camera
shout
over
out.
there.
What's up, Lita? What's up, Nara? What's up, Butlare? What's up, nephews and nieces? And everybody who loves Uncle MXO. One love.
So thank you both for coming through and having some fun and, letting your hair loose down, Jay.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, we've come to the end of our very first episode of Raising Babies 101 Season 2. Thank you so much. Ke a le leboga kaofela ko gae for joining me. And I hope I've inspired you to join me again next week as we continue the journey of learning together as parents when we explore the concept of creativity in our little ones. Please also join the conversation and share your thoughts with us on our social media platforms. Take care, guys. Next week.